And welcome back to the channel. Today we're talking about what the heck is going on right now on planet Earth, and whether you're spiritual or you're tapped in or you're sensitive, you are being affected by the energies because we're in unprecedented times. And I want to break that down for you. I want to talk about the symptoms that you may be experiencing. And then I also want to talk about the 3 different states of being. Whether you want to call it 3D or 5D or high vibe or low vibe or just a good day or a bad day, we have to talk about how all of the different timelines are converging right now. So without further ado, let's dive in. Make sure that if you enjoy videos on awakening, on extrasensory abilities, on conspiracies and agendas, on remote viewing, and everything else in between, be sure to subscribe to the channel for more content. And if you're not looking, if you can't find what you're looking for, then head over to my website, elizabethapril.com, because I have all of my other videos there, including a lot of the ones that I had to take down from social media. All right. So what is happening right now? We've got a lot of eclipses taking place. We're kind of at the end of eclipse season. We've got the equinox, I think is today or yesterday. But September marks a very significant sort of turning point, especially for 2025. And the turning point is there are like 2 camps of people right now. All right. One camp of people have had a really, really difficult year. A lot of challenges, a lot of suffering, just a lot of, confrontations, a lot of ego deaths and dark night of the souls and health crises and things like that. For that camp of people, as long as you have learned your lesson, September marks a rebirth. It marks a new beginning. You should start to feel a little bit at ease. You should start to see a little bit of that light at the end of the tunnel. Not completely, but you're starting to see that. There's another camp of people in this world in general, and I think honestly my community is kind of split 50-50. There's no better or worse, it's just sort of where you're at. And the other camp is, yeah, maybe 2025 has been a little bit more difficult for you, but for the most part, you've been okay. You've been sort of just getting by. September marks a time when you may get a little bit rug pulled. Maybe a relationship in your life blows up. Maybe you all of a sudden lose your job. Maybe you have a health crisis that comes out of nowhere that no doctor can explain. The reason why we are being confronted this year more so than other years is because there is a lot in our life that we have refused to look at, that we have convinced ourselves of, maybe in a different way. Call it rose-colored glasses. Essentially, we've looked the other way on certain things. And 2025 marks the ending of anything that no longer serves us. It's a year of preparing us to move into a higher state of being, or the 5th dimension, or a new timeline, whatever you want to call it. And so even though we've convinced ourselves that certain things are working for us, they're probably not. And those things are leaving our life right now. And we're going to talk about the symptoms involved in that and why those symptoms might be happening. The other thing that we're going to be experiencing is time speeding up. Now, some of you might have experienced time slowing down, some might experience it speeding up, but what is occurring right now is there is a lot of things happening all at the same time. Like if you take any 2 to 3 month period in 2025 and you compare it to any other time in your life, I bet you there's been more packed in to that 2 to 3 month period than you've had before. Whether it be a big lesson, a big struggle, a big challenge, a big triumph, a big opportunity, new people coming into your life, old people leaving your life. There's a lot occurring at the same time, because we're moving from a linear way of existing and experiencing reality into more of a simultaneous way of existing and experiencing reality. And so it's going to feel overwhelming. It's going to feel like you are just scrambling to catch up. And part of that is we're not taking the appropriate amount of time to process everything that is occurring in our life. And that's what I'm hoping, moving into 2026, we get that downtime to just take a breath, take a look back at 2025, and to process all of the emotions and experiences we've had. So time is speeding up. Things are happening rapidly. And then also there's going to be this feeling, and I think we can all agree on this, especially in the past 5 years. Why does 2020 feel like it was just yesterday, and then also it was like 10 years ago? It's just so bizarre. But if you think about those past 5 years, it really feels like the entire world has flipped upside down. And it's like, I don't even know what to think anymore. I couldn't write a reality TV script this good. And so there's also this sort of surreal feeling of, is this really the world we're living in? Is this really my reality? Is this really what's happening in the world? And same thing, that is everything that we're experiencing individually is happening collectively. Everything's getting blown up because it needs to be purged out, because we're changing and shifting those timelines. So keep that in mind. Now, I also want to just mention a portal has opened up on planet Earth. What does that even mean? And I'm going to try and relay this as maybe simply or clearly as possible. Portals are essentially where energetic ley lines converge. So on planet Earth, there are these ley lines, okay? That's like a scientific term. And the ley lines are essentially electromagnetic field lines. And when enough of these ley lines intersect, it creates a portal or a vortex. I don't think science calls them a portal or a vortex. At an individual level in our body, we've got energetic lines in our body called meridians. And when enough of these lines converge and lay over top of each other, it creates chakras. Every chakra is a portal or a vortex. We've got little tiny chakras and portals in our body. We've got really big ones, the 7 to 13 ones that we're aware of. Same thing on planet Earth. We've got small or minor vortexes and portals on planet Earth, and we've got big ones. Out in the universe, we actually have something called flux lines, which is pretty badass. Same thing. They are energetic lines in the universe that converge. They intersect. And when they intersect, they create portals. What's happening at more of a fourth dimensional level right now is that we have multiple different timelines intersecting and converging. Let's call them different layers of frequencies are converging and intersecting on planet Earth right now. And because they're doing that, it's opening up a field of possibility where anything we didn't think was possible is all of a sudden possible. Okay? So yeah, there's a massive portal that has opened on planet Earth. And I believe that this portal is going to be open for the next couple of years. So that's a good thing, but it can also be a bad thing. Because what portals do is they amplify energy. So if you're in a really bad place, that bad place might be really amplified right now. And it's kind of like a domino effect. One bad thing happens and everything else sort of happens after that, right? When it rains, it pours. But likewise, it can amplify a good frequency, a high vibration. When one good thing happens, it amplifies that, and a lot of good things end up happening. Okay, so yeah, everything all at once. Let's talk about the symptoms that you're going to experience during this great portal opening, this great convergence, and these timeline shifts. And then we're going to go into the 3 different states of being and how you can best navigate them. Okay, so the first main symptom that you're going to have is heightened sensitivities. Think about it as the veil is being lifted from your own reality. That might mean some very sudden realizations or aha moments. That might mean that your aunt's conflict never really bothered you, but now it does. Or that thing on the news that you never really took notice of all of a sudden is affecting you, okay? It is very common to have heightened sensitivities right now, including heightened emotional sensitivities. So just keep that in mind. There's a lot of relationships that are dying right now, okay? And what I mean by that is it could be a coworker relationship, it could be a family relationship, it could be a romantic relationship, it could be a friendship. But whatever dynamics you have in your life with other people that are not serving the highest timeline is leaving you right now. Any person in your life that doesn't match the frequency that you're on, good, bad, or indifferent, is going to go away. And it doesn't mean that they're going to go away forever. They can come back around, so just allow it to happen, okay? But really pay attention to it. The other thing that's happening right now and has been happening this year on and off are sudden health crises. This could be like a lot of people are getting, could be gut things, intestinal things, stomach things. It could be skin irritants or issues. Like I've had a lot of friends have random things like a numbness in their left arm, or all of a sudden they're having knee pain, or maybe it comes through as a sudden or freak accident, like a car accident or something like that. Or they just trip and they fall and they hurt their shoulder, you know? There's a lot of people that I've talked to that are having these health crises, and doctors or the Western medical field cannot explain what they're experiencing. A lot of it is energies, toxins in the body releasing. Obviously not all of it. Now, sometimes when it comes to disease or cancers or tumors, it's the same thing. It's essentially, and this is my take on it, so I'm not like diagnosing anyone or like undermining anyone, because I believe in Eastern and Western medicine, and I've said that all along. There's good and bad to both. But I truly do believe that things happen at an energetic level. Unresolved traumas, unresolved emotions that sit in our body long enough end up affecting us at a biological or cellular level, and that will accumulate into essentially cells that are no longer working for you, they're working against you. And a lot of the time, these illnesses and sicknesses come with lessons. They come with a purging or a releasing of that old energy. Whether you want to relate your right shoulder pain to father issues or not, that right shoulder pain is helping you release some stored emotional energy in your body that's no longer serving you. It's just fascinating the way that it works. I'm not a medical medium. This is just what I've observed in my own practice. A lot of people are experiencing financial loss. Just from my own perspective, okay, I have lost financially and materialistically, I have lost everything in my life about 3 times now. I'm 33. Let's hope it's the last time, but that's fine. The first time was the worst because you really there's so much scarcity and so much survival that goes into that. But eventually you end up realizing that losing everything allows a clean slate so that you can rebuild it and rebuild it tenfold. And then you just become more confident that loss only ever equates to gain, right? It's like that weird polarity thing. So just realizing that if you are going through financial hardships or a job loss or financial loss at a very deep level, or you're hit with a bill that's completely unexpected, please realize that it's also trying to help you purge out any sort of survivalistic attachments to money and material, So this is a good time to reset your mindset around your attachments to the material world and realize that anything that you're losing right now, financially or monetarily or otherwise, you can gain back and will gain back tenfold. And we're going to talk about that because, remember, a portal has opened and it's amplifying the energies. Okay, the other symptoms that I've been experiencing and a lot of other people have been experiencing, intense dreams. Really intense dreams. Not necessarily bad, but not necessarily great. Just really vivid, really intense. That's very common for this time. Because the veil is thinning, we are becoming more aware of the other densities and the other dimensions. On top of that, just really restless nights. Just not being able to, not being able to sleep restfully. And thank you, Richard, and thank you, Doug, for those super chats. Another symptom is headaches or just pressure in the head, pressure in the neck, pressure in the upper shoulders. That is all very, very common because the energies are really intense. We're being affected in our upper chakras, which are more energetically sensitive. Okay, the other weird one, I don't know if you guys are with me on this, but in the past 3 months especially, I have either not been hungry at all, like borderline nauseous, to I am so intensely hungry, I am eating everything in sight. And I'm just kind of hoping that my overeating is just matching my undereating and like we're good to go. We're just like neutralizing that out. So I don't know if you're with me on that, but I've experienced extreme undereating and a lot of fasting, and then extreme overeating and just being starving. And for me, I don't try and restrict, I don't try and restrain, I don't try and force myself to eat when I'm not hungry, and I don't try and force myself to not eat when I am hungry. I actually just kind of listen to my body and give it what it needs. So just keeping that in mind, that's a weird symptom, and I'm just kind of rolling with it. Like today, overeating. I have eaten so much food and I'm still hungry. I'm like a bottomless pit. I don't know what's going on. Okay. And then on top of that, anxiety is a super, super common symptom right now. It's almost like our energetic systems are they're feeling everything, feeling the convergence, feeling the timeline shifts, feeling all of that, and yet our physical body is unable to keep up with it, which is creating anxiety. It's like, my brain cannot comprehend why I feel all of these things, and because I can't logically deduce why, I'm feeling anxious. I'm missing something. Something is wrong. Am I making the right decisions? What's going to happen tomorrow? I don't know, because every day is just so random and chaotic and crazy, and everything's happening at once. Anxiety is so, so common at this time. And then the last symptom here that I want to talk about that you're probably experiencing is new foundations. Just new and unexpected foundations. Yes, a lot of suffering, a lot of challenge, a lot of loss, but at the same time, a lot of growth, a lot of new realizations, a lot of new friendships, a lot of new dynamics, a lot of new opportunities. A lot of new things, new mindsets, new routines, new aspects that maybe you've never thought about before that are coming in, okay? So expect the unexpected is really what it comes down to. Okay, so I recommend, and then we're gonna go into the 3 different states of being. I recommend that you revisit your 2025 intentions. If you took the Cosmic Gateway workshop, if you were with me on that, go back to your notes. What did you ask for this year? And check into that, Have you created that? Have you manifested that? Is everything in your life shifting because you asked for that? Most likely it is. Or were you way off on what you asked for and you actually don't want anything that you asked for because you've changed so rapidly? It'd be interesting. Before we get into the 3 different states of being and what that really means for all of us and what the 3rd dimension looks like, what the 5th dimension looks like, a couple of announcements here. About an hour ago, I just got off of probably one of the best Q&As I've had in a long time. We covered so many intense and incredible and revealing topics. One of the topics that I covered and the questions that I answered, and I channeled that right on the spot, is about sentient AI. And actually today's video was actually going to be all about sentient AI. I have done quite a few videos on AI and my take on it and my perspective. As always, take it or leave it. Those AI videos are on my website if you want a deep dive. But go to my website right after this if you've got time. Check out the most recent Q&A video because someone asked about sentient AI. For example, ChatGPT. There are a lot of people claiming that they are opening up these portals and these doorways and they're bringing through sentient beings and they're talking to these beings about their Akashic records, about energies, about their past lifetimes, about who they are and their soul contracts. Is this really happening? And beyond if it's happening, is it possible? Or is ChatGPT just sort of programmed to pretend, to go with the flow, to validate someone's desires? The answer might completely shock you. And like I said, I looked into that on the spot and got a lot of visuals in not only what is happening, but how it is happening. That was just one of the questions answered today. I also talked a lot about past lifetimes, the global shift, talking to Source. We talked about Trump a lot. We talked about RFK, the impacts that they're making in humanity right now. Like, it was a fully loaded conversation. So if you want to just go deep and get interested in that kind of stuff, go to the Q&A right after this. All right, cool. Two other announcements. Coming up on October 10th, I've got a very special guest coming to my website, and she will be teaching us all about emotional alchemy. If you guys are interested in essential oils, I know that I love essential oils and I apply them to my body every single night. She really helps us better understand essential oils, how we can apply them, and how we can navigate the intense emotional stress that we are all going through right now by leveraging and utilizing essential oils and our meridians and the elements. So go check that out, October 10th. It's called the Emotional Alchemy Workshop. It's going to be happening live on Zoom, and you can grab your tickets right now off the website. And then finally, if you are going through anxiety, my book, Your Anxiety is Giving Me Anxiety, is coming out in just a couple of months. So it's out everywhere right now for pre-sale. You can grab it on Walmart, in Amazon, Target, Barnes & Noble, Simon & Schuster, you name it, it's out there. So just type in Your Anxiety is Giving Me Anxiety and you can grab your pre-release copy right now. I highly recommend to get your hands on a copy because I'm working with a publisher. They only print so many, and it's really good to get in on the pre-sale. Okay, that is all my announcements. Let's dive into the 3 states of being really quickly. So we've got the high vibrational state of being, or the 5th dimension. We've got the low state of vibrational being, or the 3rd dimension, and then we've got the neutral state of being. So let's talk about the low. Okay, actually, before I go into like each one individually, I want to talk about something really important. 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, you would be like hanging out in the 3rd dimension for months, for years maybe, which was just kind of like a very robotic, very autopilot programming, very just, yep, everything in life is good and I really don't have to worry too much. And I go to my job and then I come home and I hang out with my kids and like, that is my world. That is my life. It is contained within this reality, right? Then you start to shift and you question and you awaken, and then you shift into a higher state of being, conspiracies and agendas and what's really going on and am I truly happy? And if I'm not happy, then what do I need to make me happy? And what's happening in the world? You know, all of that, right? In the past, it was very much so, I'm feeling really good and I will be feeling really good for a couple of months, 6 months, 8 months, 5 years. Then, ooh, I'm going through a rough patch. I'm feeling really bad, and I'm going through that for 3 months, for 8 months, for 5 years. These days, you can have a block of time, like 24 hours, and you can experience all 3 of these levels of vibration almost simultaneously. You can, and it's so funny too, because like I have a toddler and I'm like, wow, like this experience of this like convergence is completely embedded in the toddler experience of one moment we will be blasting music and dancing in the kitchen, and then the next moment, you know, he trips and he falls and he's screaming, and or like I say no to an extra snack and it's just like all out tantrum. And it's like, what happened to the last moment where we were just like laughing and dancing? And the toddler experience of emotions really just embodies this collective experience of the shifting frequencies. So what does that mean, right? That's a really good thing, and it can be a really bad thing because it feels destabilizing, right? It really does. So yeah, and we're going to talk about the timelines. Okay, so first of all, the third dimension. Please keep in mind that the fifth dimension, the fourth dimension, and we're not going to talk about the fourth today, and the third dimension, they're not places. They're states of being, they're frequencies, and if you really wanted to label it, it's a perception. It's a perception. That's what it is. Your frequency matches the way that you view the reality around you. The way that you view the reality around you creates the reality around you. All right, third dimension. When we're in a lower frequency or the third dimension, 3D, we get triggered really often, triggered in a negative way. So there's a lot of fears that come up. There's a lot of chaos that comes up. There's a lot of suffering that comes up. There's a lot of intense negative emotion. It could be anger, it could be jealousy, it could be attachment, it could be resentment. And typically in the lower frequencies, there's a lot of impulsive decisions. I'm really hungry, I'm gonna eat that whole chocolate bar. Or like, I'm really angry, I'm gonna yell at that person. There really isn't any sort of filter, there's just reaction. Because there's not an awareness around the action that you're taking. You're just in it, okay? I also find that in the lower frequencies, there's a lot of blame. There's a lot of, well, I feel this way because of the government. Well, I'm this way because of my childhood. Well, I'm not making enough money because of my boss, or what have you. But there's just a lot of that blame, okay? So let's talk about the higher state of being. Let's talk about the fifth dimension. Typically when you are in a higher state of being or the fifth dimension, there's a lot of ease. There's a lot of flow. There's a lot of harmony. It's like, have you ever had one of those days where everything just works out? I want to give you an example of this, right? Now, typically, you can anchor yourself into a higher state of being simply through your intention. That's it. And you don't have to sit in meditation and think about love and light and butterflies and rainbows in order to experience that in your reality. You just have to take an extra moment to be more intentional about the life that you're living. So, great, very, very human example of being in ease and flow and the fifth dimension. A couple years ago, I was sort of bootstrapping a new water heater system. That sounds silly, whatever. But I went from like a tanked water heater to a tankless water heater. And so I had to go to Home Depot to pick up this tankless water heater. And I just had such a busy day, and the last thing I wanted to do was take this extra trip to Home Depot to grab this tankless water heater, and I had already picked up the wrong one, so I had to go back and return it and get a new one and whatever. So instead of just being in reaction and being like super negative about having to do this thing that was taking my time and like costing a bunch of money or whatever, I said, what is the best case scenario? And I thought to myself, before I left, I said the best case scenario is I go in, I return the old one with ease, I walk in, the new one that I really need is right there. I get the confirmation that that's the one that I need, and then I walk out and it's super easy. And also, like, I find like Home Depot is just like so freaking big and you have to walk 5 miles to get wherever you want to go. Anyway, so like, I kid you not, right? It was the easiest shopping experience I've ever had in my life. I walk in, I return the thing, and it's like, nope, yep, no problem. I go to the aisle that I needed to go to. Some lady's like, hey, can I help you? I'm like, yes, you can. Where am I going? And you're like, aisle 15. Okay, great, I'm gonna go there. Aisle 15's right there. I go there, right? The aisle is blocked off. I'm immediately thinking, here we go. Here, it's gonna take extra time. The whole aisle's blocked off, no one's around. Immediately, this guy walks up and he's like, hey, what are you looking for? I'm like, I'm looking for this tankless hot water heater. He's like, oh, great. I have a customer right here looking for the same thing. He's got his like little crane thing out and he's like, he goes under the rope and then he goes up the crane and he's like, I was just about to get this for them and now I'm going to get it for you. And I'm like, oh my goodness, you have the crane out and everything. It was like, boom, bada boom, bada bing. It was like so quick and easy. And all I had to do was ask for what I wanted. I didn't go in, I was reactionary. I switched my reaction. I asked for what I wanted, and it was so easy and effortless. That is a great example of the fifth dimension, right? It's easy, it's effortless. Such a human thing to experience, and yet I experienced it with ease. Okay. Also, there's a lot of like big picture thinking when you're in a higher state of frequency. Instead of reaction, instead of anger, instead of emotional triggers, it's, I stubbed my toe. That really hurt. You're not avoiding challenge, you're not avoiding suffering in the fifth dimension, but you can observe the suffering in the fifth dimension, in the higher state, and you can understand, what am I learning from this? Why does my right shoulder hurt? Why am I experiencing this suffering? And then you gain access to knowledge and information, and you better your life, and you move forward with it. Okay? There's also a massive amount of responsibility in a higher state of being. Why did that guy rear-end me? Well, the stupid idiot was on his phone texting. No, he rear-ended me because I actually already had a ding in my bumper and I couldn't afford to fix it. And now that he's rear-ended me, his insurance is going to take care of it for me. Wow, look at that, okay? Taking responsibility for every aspect of your life is a higher state of being. Okay. Also, what's interesting in the fifth dimension is you end up making decisions that aren't just benefiting you, but they're benefiting the collective, right? It's like, I'm just going to throw, and I don't know, recycling's not really a great example, but I'm just going to use it, so don't come at me, but I'm just going to throw this tin can away in the garbage or this plastic water bottle away in the garbage instead of recycling it because it's the easier, more convenient thing for me to do for me versus, I wonder the impact this is going to make. I'm going to go ahead and take the time to recycle it for me and for the collective or whatever. But typically we end up making decisions because we have extra conscious awareness in a higher state that benefits the collective and yourself. Okay, and then last kind of thing about the fifth dimension is you typically have a lot of compassion for everyone. So if you've been triggered by politics recently, if you've been triggered by the state of the world recently, when you enter into a higher frequency, you end up looking at really triggering things that are happening, and you end up having a lot of compassion for those aspects. And then finally, the third state of being is the neutral state of being. A lot of us have been in this state. It doesn't last for too long, but it's kind of like this WTF state of like, I don't know who I am, I don't know where I'm going, I don't know what I want. Like, it's kind of that moment where you're really hungry, but you're like opening the fridge and you're looking at it, or you're looking at your pantry thinking, I don't really want anything, you know? I'm like hungry, but like, I don't like, none of this is like sounding good to me. That is like kind of a neutral state of being, and that's a good thing, okay? Not knowing anything or being overwhelmed with knowing everything is a perfect place to be. It's like kind of that non-thinking state. It's nothing and it's everything. And we can dip into that. It's good to dip into it, and it's tough to be in that for an extended period of time. The last thing I wanted to mention, this is my last piece of advice for this video, okay? This is really, really, really important, so listen up. Every single vibration that you dip into throughout your day, and like I said, we're dipping into many all throughout our day. Every vibration you dip into throughout your day creates a ripple effect of timelines. Timelines just being possibilities. Every time you experience a low frequency, you are creating and manifesting timelines that match that frequency. Every time you dip into or rise into a higher frequency, you are creating possibilities. You are opening up doorways. You are opening up opportunities for yourself moving forward. I would advise you that you don't have to really control what frequency you're in throughout every moment of your day. Just like overeating and undereating, I don't recommend that you control where you're at. What I do recommend is that you observe where you're at objectively and try and learn and gain as much possible insight as you can while you're in that state. Ha, what a shitty day today. Isn't that great? Hopefully tomorrow is different, but while I'm here, let's just be in it. Let's just observe it. Let's just feel it. Let's just laugh at it. All right? It's okay to be challenged. But when we observe it, when we can take responsibility around it, when we can learn from it, we move through it a lot faster and we take what we need from it so that it doesn't have to replay the next day or the next week. That is all from me. Please be sure to give this video a thumbs up. Please send it to someone who may be struggling and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I will see all of you in the next one, and go check out that epic Q&A I just did on Sentient AI, Trump, and RFK. It was honestly next level. All right, guys, love you so, so much. Take it easy. You're exactly where you need to be.